Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick, also known as Rick's Two. My name is Rick Ramirez, also known as Rick's 2 Cents, along with Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
I'm not Steve 2 Cents though. Howdy, y'all.
And Roger from Roger Shop.
Howdy.
Andy from Andy Bird Builds.
What's up, everyone?
And we have a special guest tonight. Sky, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Skylar Ewing, and I'm a YouTuber as well, Skylar Ewing Woodworking.
Yeah. So to be honest, I'm a big fan. I love your work.
I've watched many videos too. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually we're friends with, I don't know if you know him, the Bearded Viking.
Yes, I've watched a few of his videos.
So he makes a lot of boxes, and I says, "Hey Daniel, your boxes are pretty nice, but I don't know, man. I think she's got you beat."
Well, thank you.
Do you want to give us a little background?
Daniel doesn't have that same finesse for inlay, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Honestly, like that inlays, the work that you do is really cool.
I just use lasers for that stuff.
I do too. I've started with routers, but then it seems like lasers make it so much easier. It's like cheating.
Yeah. Well, lasers can do square corners too. Routers
right.
can't.
Do you want to give us a little background on how you got into maybe YouTube and woodworking and just a little bit info on you?
Sure. Well, I've been on YouTube now for 3 years. I don't even remember. I started a photography channel a few years back, and I did that for a couple of years. And then 2 years, and it will be 2 years in June. It will be 2 years when I started woodworking. And I didn't want to start a YouTube channel on woodworking. It's just I fell in love with woodworking, started doing a few things. And one night I was like, I wonder if Sawdust and Splinter is taken as a YouTube channel. And I just went on the computer and plugged it in. I was like, I think I can do it. So I just did it. And 2 minutes later, it's like, there you go. I have a channel. It's like, I don't even know how to do woodworking. I was like, honestly, didn't even know how to use a drill. And, just wanted to document my journey as I grow as a woodworker. So that's why I started the channel.
Very cool. Very cool. So is this something you do full time?
I do now, yes.
So how long did it take you to go from a side gig to a full-time hustle?
Well, it took about over a year, almost a year and a half.
Wow, pretty impressive.
You make that sound like it's a long time.
Yeah, that's why I said pretty impressive.
I put the time in. Let's say that I'm in my shop every day, 7 days a week, at least 8 hours a day.
Okay.
And I only started selling things on my website in February, I think, last year. And then in September, I started an Etsy store, and things just kind of snowballed, and it seemed very slow at the time, but looking back, maybe it went okay.
No. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I've definitely seen like your work progressively kind of get more intricate, especially like the inlay, the inlays you're doing and some of the epoxy stuff you're doing. It's getting very intricate.
I think it kind of changed. You have to be able to pivot when you have a business, right? So it's like my love for woodworking is I wanted to make boxes. I love making boxes. And I made so many boxes, and then, well, they didn't sell. So I just had all these boxes. And I was like, now what? I got to make something else.
Right.
So I had to try something new, and then from there, try something else, and, keep learning every day.
That's cool. No, that's a good point to make too. Like, you have to be able to make transitions on the fly sometimes to keep to stay relevant, but it's okay to have your hardcore like items you're known for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's why I only make custom stuff, because I don't ever have inventory that way.
I was always too nervous to make custom stuff. I had a few people, even when I was making lots of boxes, contact me. I was like, can you make me a custom box like this, like that? I'm like, nope, I can't. Because I was always afraid that I'm not going to be able to meet their requirements or be good enough.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. We're always more critical of our own work than other people are.
Yeah, that's true. Before I start selling things, I was always, I was making furniture for my own house, and every little side table had a little wobble to it, like all the legs are not the same size. And I went to a high-end furniture store here in Maine, and I went every side table. I was rocking it, and every one of them was rocking. I had the biggest smile on my face. My kids were like, "Mom, you're like a lunatic running through the store, building all the tables."
That's
I'm
proof
like,
that
"You
you're
have
a
no
pro.
idea. This makes me so happy."
Yeah. But yeah, it's so funny. Like I remember, when I first started creating, like you get so, and it's super common. You get so focused on like the smallest imperfection, and the tendency, like, when you're selling something, especially when you're talking to the person or know them, like you want to point it out to them, but what I learned is never point out your own mistakes, and they don't hardly ever get noticed. If it's major, but if it
Is that what your wife said when you got married?
Yeah, that's what my wife told me.
Never point out your own mistakes.
My husband is constantly pulling things from the trash. He's like, "What's wrong with this one?" I'm like, "You don't know. It's not perfectly square. It's not. This is like, I don't like that." She's like, "You crazy? It's great."
Yeah.
Well,
I was actually gonna.
The best thing you can put in a wood shop is a wood stove.
There you go.
I was gonna ask, do you guys ever sell blemishes? Like, the stores sometimes they sell items that are not perfect. Do you guys ever have like
I do sell on our candy boards, because we make about 1,000 a year. I'll every once in a while I'll get what I call a second, and it's perfectly functional. It just doesn't look nice, and I'll sell that for half price. But there aren't very many of them. I usually catch that when I'm milling the wood.
It depends. It's scenario based for me. If it's a one of one custom piece, then no. If it's, I'm trying to think. I mean, it really depends on the scenario,
I thought about making a separate section on my website that says like the misfit items that you made a little error. But then I keep thinking, like, you put your name on that stuff, people buy it. If he has like mistakes, they look at you, they're just not going to look at you like a serious person, like you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, the counter argument to that, though, is if you leave not major mistakes, but if you leave a subtle mistake in everything, people appreciate the fact that it's handmade.
Yep. Yeah, it's not perfect.
Yep. It's a weird thing, but I've had people say, "Oh, look, there's a nick there. That means it was handmade."
Yeah.
Well, it was, but I want to get rid of the nick now.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I teach a lot about selling, and I don't ever mention quality. Like, it's not something that quality typically doesn't sell products. Now, it will not sell a product, if that makes sense.
Yes, lack of quality
will,
sales. Yes,
yes, but I mean, I assume us as makers, we're harder on ourselves and harder on our products than the consumer ever will be.
100%.
So, yeah.
Well, quality is an intangible thing too, right? You know when you don't have it. Like, I mean, back when I was in the real world as an engineer, my boss came in one day and said, "Today we have a quality program. So we're now making things with quality." I said, "Okay, what's quality?" And he just walked away. It's like, because you can't really define it, right?
Yeah.
It's, for me, it's a lot of it is pride, right? Like you make something that you would say, "I would actually put this in my own house." If
I just think as a maker, though, you could always find a flaw, right?
Well, of course,
going to be flawless, right?
But I mean, for me, if I, because everything I do is custom, if I screw something up, the customer is never going to see it. Like I've had more than one cribbage board end up in the fire.
ATX Woodcraft said, "Howdy, you just had an alpha moment when my CNC is making something and nothing flew apart. No cable jam, no bit snap, no material shift. Just plain old making something start to finish without a hassle."
It's a good feeling.
Hey,
knock on wood.
Awesome.
Someday, Rick, you'll appreciate that feeling.
Awesome.
I lost you a second.
There we go.
Yeah. That's
a great feeling. And there's a lot of people chasing that feeling too. It's CNC and CNC routers are something like it is definitely more complicated than 3D printing or lasering, or we talked a lot about that. But
it looks deceptively easy.
Yes.
Like there's some machine is magically doing what you want until it doesn't.
Because you think about it, if you think like, and I'm not saying everybody comes from a 3D printing or a laser background, but with 3D printing, like, the hardest part is like, if I have an STL file, now I know there's nuances with printing and things like that, but if I have an STL file, I pretty much can print that, right? Without too many adjustments. Throw it in my slicer. I know there's nuances, but it's a lot more user friendly. Yeah. And that's it. With a CNC router, it's like a vector is just it's an outline.
Yeah, there's just a lot of knobs to turn.
There's just nothing. Yeah, there's so many more steps after that. So,
right. So TJ Michael's asking 5-watt UV Omni 1 or a Haitian laser FOTS.
So that's the actual gray laser I have right behind me on this shoulder.
Well, I don't know if he's asking about the Haitian.
It's the brand.
Yeah, I know it's the brand, but whether, because they have a UV laser too, right?
Right. So, but what I'm saying is this: an Omni laser is more than likely just a rebranded laser, anyways. So
both of them are.
I'm not going to say that.
I guarantee you, if it's a UV laser, they probably both use the exact same laser module.
Right. So the point is, what I was trying to say is that I don't think one's necessarily going to be better than the other. I think that the Omni is just going to be way more expensive because you're paying for a rebrand, right? You're kind of like cutting out the middleman when you're buying it directly from China. But I would say the only thing is, if there's already lasers that are stateside, right now, you're probably going to save a lot of money than 2 months from now when it's going to get hit with that tariff coming inside. So if you want to buy something and you got a hole burning in your pocket, so to speak, you might want to do it now because...
Yeah, I spent a lot of time talking to the comm marker guys, and I don't think the Omni One is just a rebrand, but everything inside it is off the shelf, right? There's no, there's nothing with comm marker's name on a circuit board or anything. So, but they're all like that.
Yeah.
So which one would you recommend?
I would not go the Omni One. I'd save the money and buy directly from China.
Well, the Omni One's coming from China.
Yeah, but I'm buying it from a stateside seller who's getting it from China. And then the other thing is that
no, you're not. You're getting them from China. They do have a U.S. warehouse,
right?
But it's comm marker's warehouse, and they're coming from China. I've seen video of their lab.
Yeah,
they do it all there.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, those two things I think don't really matter. Pick the cheapest one. Omni, or there's now a 10-watt Omni One as well, so think about that.
Yeah, I would just say, like I said, if they already have some stateside, that may be a no-brainer because once that tariff kicks in, I know, Roger, you got to talk to your boy, man. Tell him to leave our tariffs alone.
Not my boy, believe me. In fact, because of him, I had to do this last week and stock up on filament. And that's not even all the cases of it. I still got 3 cases on the floor. I had to get it before it went up.
TX Woodcraft said, Henry Ford said, quality is doing things right when no one else is looking. That's a good saying.
That's about as close a definition as you can come to, right? Yeah. It's a lot of it has to do with pride, right? And like pride of ownership, and all the corny kinds of soft skills that people have.
I'm going to push back on Henry Ford here and ask him what is right.
Well, yes.
I don't know,
as far as I'm concerned,
everything repair daily.
What's that?
Doesn't Ford stand for fix or repair daily?
Found on road
fast on race day.
Oh, found on the road dead is what I was saying.
Yeah, I always do everything right, and people always tell me I'm wrong. That's the problem.
There's going to be a Saint Steve soon. We'll see. So, Skylar, is there any particular thing that you like to make it's not necessarily like the biggest profitable thing that you make, but you just enjoy doing it anyways?
I think I like to make small stuff, and that's why I fell in love with making boxes. And I would like to make more of them. It's just that my shelves are full of them.
Yeah,
I have no room for it.
nice one.
Yeah.
I just
I was always intimidated of making furniture, and I made boxes for like the first year of my woodworking journey. And then when I made my daughter her desk or her bed, I was like, wow, that is so much easier. Like working with small things, it's so much harder. Like that tiny little, 0.5 millimeter makes a big difference versus in a bed. You're not going to see
That's
that.
true. Yeah.
Yet you spend all your time doing inlay.
Yeah, like trying to sand the corners. When you have a small thing, it's so much harder versus like something big.
I think what you start doing that too is you start looking at furniture differently. You're like, this is crap. Like, why is this cost so much?
Yeah, once
like $80 in wood, they want $700.
Once you make something of your own, you stop shopping at IKEA.
Funny.
Well, I'll throw something out there for everyone. Those that have been selling stuff for a while, whether it be e-commerce or through trade shows or whatever you do, what are your sales for April of 2025 compared to what your sales were of April 2024? Because we are off by about 30%.
Whoa.
And it's because what we sell is not a necessity. It's not food. It's not rent. It's not your mortgage or your light and gas bill. It's, it's an extra. So, people are obviously tightening their belts. And we ran a report this morning and showed we're 30% off on sales to this date in April this year than we were over last year. So let's put that out there for everybody else. Have you noticed any downturn in your sales?
I have in, my main revenue being digital products. I've seen a downturn basically the first quarter and continuing. Like it's not just April. It's down. I don't know the percentage across the board, but revenue is I'd say 30% is probably a good guess. 25-30%.
I'd say a big portion of my business is from right now till 2 weeks after Mother's Day, because the type of things that I sell, that's like a big portion of my year. So I'm about to find out.
I don't know if I'm down 30%. I mean, probably a bit. Like I can ship things to other places in the world without tariffs impacting me right now, but I don't know how long that's going to last. I do think there's a buyer sentiment issue right now, though.
There is.
Independent of global tariffs and things, I think there's just people who are nervous.
Well, I'm blaming it on the price of eggs.
That's right.
We got lots of eggs, Roger. Come to my place. I'll make you an omelet.
For me, I feel like I'm a new shop, so I can't compare with last year since I didn't have a shop last year. But my website has been making sales every day, and
awesome.
Since November, so it's still making sales every day. But my Etsy shop was making sales every day until this month, and this month it seems like it's every other day.
We were saying about Etsy is that the biggest thing with Etsy is it's supposed to be a maker's seller's location, right? And they allowed China to kind of snake in there, and there's no way that you can compete with that. I mean, there's just no way.
Yeah,
and they're drop shipping.
There is now,
right? But to the point, exactly what just Steve said.
Yeah.
Now there is. So we're seeing that once those tariffs go into full effect, that maybe American sellers, you're going to see the sales go up.
Yeah, I think to Steve's point though, regardless of like the actual effects of tariffs, I think it's a buyer's confidence issue.
Yeah, you're nervous for sure.
And even if it caught, like, it's not like, oh, that's 25% more. Of course, that's going to affect it. But I think right now the uncertainty, people clam up and hold on to what they have. Kind of like Roger was saying, it's not a necessity.
You might see a lot of bartering like the old days, right?
Yeah, but there's so many dynamics, right? Like there's so many dynamics that, do more people turn to YouTube because it's quote unquote free? Do views go up? does ad revenue go down because companies are pulling back on their marketing budgets?
Well, our ad revenue is a little off on YouTube from what it was a few months ago.
Yeah.
Mine's about the same.
Is it?
Mine is too.
Yeah, but Canada doesn't count.
It's up a bit.
Canada doesn't count because they have no, they don't.
Excuse
count.
me.
They don't count because Canada.
You get a lot more money for ad revenue than we get down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. Well, the same amount of ads, but the auctions go for a little more for some reason. I don't.
Yeah, the RPM usually it is higher during holiday season, obviously.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that there's so many dynamics that you just don't know how it's going to play out, right?
Ride the wave, man.
Brandon said, "Has anyone heard about the Masso controller going to subscription?" I hope not.
So they talked about this, but I got an email, I don't know, last week or the week before where they said, yeah, we realized this was the bamboo moment, and they backed off.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Because I did see I was going to bring that up last week. There was in the Facebook groups and in forums, there was an uprising a little bit.
Yeah.
So they did back off on it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look to see. Yeah, I got a message from personal message from the CEO saying, yeah, we realized this was a screw up.
And Rick, to give you a little more information, it wasn't like you had to. It wasn't the way I understood it. It wasn't that you had to go with a subscription in order to use the Masso controller. It was if you wanted the new features features they released and updates in the future, you go to a subscription.
Yeah. So I found the message. It says all updates to Masso G3 controllers will remain free. The updates to Masso Link, which is the thing to load to your machine, that's free. They're going to only charge for cloud-based services. Which, yeah, who cares? I don't use those anyway. So
I was gonna say that'd be a turn off. I don't even have it shut up yet. All of a sudden, one hit you with a subscription fee.
No. Yeah, I mean the controller's gonna work, right? It's not like it calls home and says, "Oh, you haven't paid your bill, so I'm not going to run your CNC."
Shutting it off.
You never know.
I know, right?
Fee-based.
This is the interest. Let's have this. This is an interesting conversation though, because that's one of the downsides of using off-the-shelf products, right? Because Onefinity's hands are tied. Yeah. Masso can, unless there's some kind of agreement, Masso can decide what they can do, what they want.
Yeah, like literally, I had one of the Karma GoPro's drones. The thing's awesome. I can't say anything negative about it. My son's like, "Hey, can you pull it out? I want to show it to you." As soon as I turn on, it says firmware update available. I'm like, I'll do it later. Then I'm thinking, he's a 4-year-old at the time. What if this thing freaks out? I should do the update. As soon as I did the update, guess what it did? It grounded it because the drone worked off Google Maps and they stopped paying for the licensing fee. So since Google Maps wasn't updating, it could hit something and then it became a liability. So they grounded every single one of their drones. So you have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment all tied into this, and they just did a firmware update and basically put end of life.
Wow.
So exactly what you're saying, like they could handcuff Onfinity, but it also could be a strong arm tactic where it's like, hey, you know what, we kind of got you. It might be a little grease in other palms here because your hardware is not very, we really hold the keys to the house, so to speak.
Yeah, from what I understand, Onfinity is Masso's biggest customer. So
there's Onfinity has power. They have leverage.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's by no means am I scaring anybody from buying a Onfinity. That's not the point. The point is there's if you're using other people's products, they're just like anything else. Like they could discontinue it, they could change it.
Especially if there's embedded software, right? It's because that means updates stop, right? And that initially probably isn't a big deal, but over time, something you need in an update just isn't there because you didn't pay the bill.
Yeah,
Lightburn.
Yeah, it's kind of a slimy move, but yeah, they did talk about it, and then they went, "Oh, we realized this was a mistake."
They're like, "Wait, we just saw this play out."
Jim said, "I've been in contact with Commaker. How do you say
Com marker.
marker.
Yeah.
Com marker, the last 24 hours, and they have not raised their prices. They are the same at this time, including shipping, taxes, and tariffs. What I would say is this, and I'm not a lawyer by any means, but according to the Google, our law states that if you've paid for something in full and they do make a tariff or change, the manufacturer or the shipper cannot charge you an additional fee if you've already paid. Now, if you haven't paid or you put a deposit, they can reflect those additional costs on you. But if you made a final sale, like you've made a full payment, that cost is on the manufacturer or the shipper. So I think what's going to happen is later on down the road, they're just going to roll that into the price of the product. You're going to see the price increase.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of companies about this, and they've all said the same thing, that we'll just absorb it. Now, they haven't said it, but I have a feeling that the Chinese government is subsidizing them the amount of the tariff or something to keep them competitive. Again, no evidence, but I just have this sneaking suspicion that because they're all kind of taking it away too easily.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see they had like whole ship containers? They were actually like auctioning off entire cargo ship containers for like $13.
Wow.
Did you get one?
No, it was crazy because they were saying that they were I'll have to share the new article. It was on ABC. What do they say? Fake news. But ABC News is saying that that there was mass panic, even though they're trying to play it cool, like they're not concerned. They are concerned in China.
Did you know?
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, you'd have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, unlike the relationship that Canada and the U.S. have, for example, right? There's a lot of money going back and forth there.
But once you become one of our states, it won't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's not ever going to happen, man. Or I'll be living in Ireland or in the Cayman Islands or something.
Steve, if it does happen, Steve won't be around to see it.
But when you look at China's economy, the U.S. is only 30% of their economy, right?
What if they made you change the name to, like, instead of Canada, they put an M in front of it, so it sounds like America kind of deal.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter what you do, man.
Hey, so serious question.
As soon as you start sending tanks across the border, I'm out of here.
So my question is when you bid on these shipping containers, do you know what's inside, or is it just like a? No. So clue. You could open it up and it could be like
a rusty old car.
Anything.
It could
be old Fiat.
Yeah,
anything.
It could be.
Because basically what happens is that they were saying that it's 6 to 8 months on a ship to get overseas, right?
Yeah.
And when they change the laws, it's going to change their profits. So they're like, basically like they're cutting your losses, like screw it.
Yeah.
So it's like you could be like a whole shipping container of bearings. You're like, what am I going to do with this? Or it could be a whole shipping container of like
clamshells
or PS5s.
They had some of this problem during COVID too, right? Like on the West Coast, especially, there were ships lined up for months out in the Pacific, both Canada and the U.S. trying to get into port, and they couldn't offload. So there was like all the appliances are made in China, right? So there were appliance supply issues, and it was a mess.
Cosman commented down here. It says it could be a container full of Canadian flags.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
See, I think we should just, we should make an offer to California and New York to join us. And
another thing a lot of people
have
keep in mind, those that buy on Temu and AliExpress and Alibaba, is the de minimis rule is going to go away May 2nd.
Yeah.
What's that rule?
It's called de minimis. If it's less than $800, there's no tariff.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to go away. So that's going to really hit Temu and AliExpress and Alibaba and those places really, really hard.
Yeah.
Then you'll be getting expensive junk instead of cheap junk.
Yeah.
Ken said, yes, the tariffs are throwing me off. You need to know how to find new sellers that don't have as high as China. I'll be looking into India, Japan, just for a few of them for items I sell.
There's that island full of penguins down off of south or the Antarctic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, like a lot of my business is overseas, right? I do, I don't know, maybe 25% in the US, and the rest is a lot of Germany, a lot of UK, even Australia. And so I was kind of diversified.
Was it last week that someone said that they think this might kill their business, right? Like,
Yeah. Jim, I don't know if Jim is on, but
yeah.
But yeah, he was worried about that just because, yeah, I mean, all the raw materials for his business come from China, right? Like,
so check it out, man.
tumblers and coasters and all those things, right?
Those blanks for the challenge coins, if you get those, that was from I think he's from India.
Pakistan.
There you go.
There you go. So I think question for all of us, just think about, I'm thinking about this off the top of my head. What can people do, or what are you doing? What are some ideas to kind of survive during this time of uncertainty? Like, let's say whether your sales are down or sales aren't down, what are some ways that you can, right? We can't impact the tariff situation. We can't do that. But what are some things that come to mind to kind of?
The first thing that comes to my mind is bartering system. Because yes, you have to sell something to generate income, but what are you using that income for? Right? So the guy who's going to come paint your house, or the guy who's going to go cut your lawn, or the guy who has to fix something on your car. Hey man, can I make you a table? You know what I mean?
Well,
can I make you this?
This is the thing I've argued, right? Like when the economy gets really tough, people who can make things, or people in service businesses, so cook, like chefs, those people will make money.
Yeah,
because people can't, like for example, somebody who wants a piece of furniture, right? They can't go to China to get it because it's going to be outrageously expensive, so they'll go local. And I've seen some of that happening already. Like when the tariffs went on, we had this immediate like buy Canadian thing, and some of it's unwarranted, but it did kind of boost things immediately. And because I can go to Sweden and buy an IKEA desk, or I could go local and get one for, it'll cost more, but it'll be better. So I think makers are going to do okay in time. Like if you look in the Depression, who made money? Farmers, people who own sawmills, and like people who did craft, right?
Yeah. So making things making things of value, like a necessity too, right? Like, value, I always talk about value is perceived. And I think perceived value changes when wallets get tighter.
Yeah. You're not going to make coasters.
Right.
Yes.
Steve wins. I just posted on my Etsy shop my first coasters ever today.
So I don't know how often you watch it, but Steve is, out of all of us, he makes the most coasters. But
I know he doesn't make them. I don't believe anybody should make them, but I just made them with a printer, so it was really easy. There was no work involved other than printing them.
You and Steve are in the
I do have another coaster video coming up soon. It would have been out this week, except I got diverted with another project. But
Steve hates coasters. Roger loves coasters.
I've been kind of a coaster.
I think it's a waste of time.
Yes.
Well, you have to have the right market, and my market is to bars, and they don't buy 4; they buy 100.
Yeah,
that's different.
And one of the biggest things that I sell is that this coaster was stolen from, and it'll have the name of the bar and the address and everything on it, and they just love those.
But one thing we keep saying is, to be successful in business, it's probably good to have a niche, right? But every big box store, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, whatever it is, they all jump on the bandwagon of seasonal items, Halloween, Valentine's Day, so Father's Day, Mother's Day. So there's going to be items like that coaster for Father's Day. They might sell a ton, maybe Valentine's Day, like things that you'd buy for your father, your grandfather, something like that. But maybe throughout the year, that wouldn't be something you'd buy. So low ticket items, something your kids or your grandkids could customize for them and not be expensive.
These comments are cracking me up.
I make a lot of my boxes that have like a drop lid that is just like a plank of wood that just sits in it and a rabbet. And then I can do an inlay and I can change it based on the season. So for Christmas, I can do like Christmas bells or something inlay. And then comes Valentine's Day, I can just change the lid and put a heart inlay. And it's the same box. I just change the lid and promote it for that season.
Love it.
And if you're doing them on a laser, you can do them in 10 minutes, right?
Yes.
So at least the engraving part of it.
I've been doing a lot of epoxy, like fill inlays lately. I discovered this I didn't discover it, but I just found out about this poly epoxy that cures in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So you can fill an engraving in 10 minutes and send it and finish it. In 20 minutes, you're done with it.
What's the name of this stuff?
Overnight. I was gonna say we're gonna have to Google this.
Yeah, it works. It works well. You can't use it for things like charcuterie boards, like if you're making a river table or something, because you won't get the air bubbles out in time. But for this stuff, if it's just all engraving, there's no room for air bubbles in there anyway.
Polypoxy.
So. And it's very liquidy. It's like water. It's very, very thin.
Yeah.
But it cures really, really fast. I got it on Amazon.
Is it literally poly-poxy? Is that the name of the company? Okay.
Brave.
But it like really hardens in 10 minutes, so you can send it and everything.
Do you have an affiliate link for that? Do you have Amazon affiliates?
I do. Send me an email or text me and I'll give it to you.
Well, no, if you have one, you can post it right in the chat here.
You can post it here and we can drive some sales for you. I was
trying to figure out this. I was supposed to meet with Rick before we went live, just to I wanted to see how I can put this on my YouTube and all that, but then I was too late because I was finicking with my microphones and I was getting echoing and I couldn't really figure it out.
You sound good. Look good.
Yeah.
But what I like to use this epoxy with, I use it with copper shavings. Like you get the powder copper that is real metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can put a lot of copper because this is so liquidy. And then the copper versus like if you use epoxy pigment, the copper, because it's a metal shavings, it will not seep into the pores of the wood. So you don't get that bleeding. So you can just get like a copper metal inlay really easily in 20 minutes.
That's cool.
Oh,
and I've done this with regular epoxy. You can use like a clear coat. So when you
I'll show you what I use for the clear coat.
Do you use it before you pour the epoxy?
Well, yes, the clear coat so you can seal the pores so it doesn't seep into the pores. I like to use this.
Yeah.
I use the lacquer too and shellac, but then you have to take like 5 coats versus this one. It only takes like 1 or 2 coats. And then I use this brass powder. That's what I use for the inlay. Where's my camera? This way.
Very cool.
Nice.
So V is very freaking out that you're on the live. She said, "Oh my gosh, I watch your videos all the time."
We get stars too.
Thanks, V. None of us matter.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was thinking, Andy, you never tell me my voice sounds good.
I always tell you look good, though.
Well,
there you go. You can move to Australia and avoid all the tariffs.
Isn't everything outrageous expensive? Isn't Australia kind of like Hawaii? Like everything's just godly expensive for no reason?
Don't know.
Just spider and snake repellent is expensive there. Everything else is free.
Everything else in Australia can kill you, right? You have to be tough to live there.
It is. I mean, it's the one place on the planet I haven't been that I'd like to go, and the one of the reasons I haven't gone is because literally from the time you land, everything there is trying to kill you.
Yeah,
and I'm not cool with that.
Yeah, there's
Well, in Australia, you can harvest all the rabbits you want. Nobody will say a thing.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Jim said, "I'm 99% from China, 1% from Vietnam. Much of my business has been from car dealers."
Yeah, that's a good place to target.
Yeah.
Keychains, I assume, Jim.
Is this a new name? I don't recognize his name.
I don't recognize Sean here, but I recognize her outside of here.
Okay.
Welcome in.
Coasters are bait for bigger orders. There you go.
Yes, they are.
They can be, yeah. I mean, I'll throw a coaster into an order sometimes, or a set of coasters, just to kind of make people.
The truth is coming out now. Steve's a closet coaster.
I got one right here. Look.
Okay, so
That's what I do with all my laser testing materials. They all go into orders as a gift.
Yeah.
nice, love it.
Yeah.
I like cribbage boards too. You can do a lot with cribbage boards.
So Steve,
Yes, sir.
your that coaster you just held up,
Yes.
UV printer.
Yes.
Are you able to talk about it yet?
Well, UV printer, sure, I can talk about that.
No. what's the one you
UV,
ran last
UV.
week?
Yes, I can actually. So it came out of embargo yesterday. So it is the Anker UV Make E1.
I was wondering if that was it. So
I knew that was it.
yeah,
I love it.
I do
mean,
too. I
this is
really like the
the
rotary tool.
this. There's actually somebody in the in their ongoing chat who it goes by Sky, and I thought, oh geez, I wonder if that's Sky. But it's somebody else.
Yeah, I've been testing
Nick
for the
from
last week.
Bill
It's
Daddy
been
Build,
great.
he's also got one.
okay. Skylar, did you say you have one as well?
I do, yes.
Oh,
There you
cool.
go.
Do you like it?
Yes, let me show you.
It is like the coolest thing for just about anything.
That's
Nice,
wild.
It has so this thing has the nicest rotary ever.
That's my favorite. It's so easy to use.
So what about the 3D texture that it claims? Have
Here
you
is
tried
the
that?
3D
Yes.
texture.
Yeah.
That's
Look-
great.
look-
Wow. Hold on.
I don't
hold
have
on,
any
hold
here,
on.
but you can
Hold on,
actually do
just
it.
Wait 1 second. 1 second. Hold on.
I think I pressed the mute button.
Honestly, have I not seen that from you, and I saw that online, I'd probably think it was fake. Does it look
Yeah, let me show
3D
you.
printed?
Here is the one I
It
did.
probably
Just,
it probably took a while to print it though.
it took
Okay, so-
57 minutes. Here's the one that I did just flat, and it has no white layer underneath. Then I did another one with a white layer underneath.
So
But
how
it's
is
so
it
much
viewed?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This
So
one is the flat relief, where it's all flat on the top, but it's about 1 millimeter relief. And this is the texture relief, where all is textured. But this embossed relief was what was mind-boggling is that this is a design I bought from Etsy. It's just a 2D like clip art.
Yep.
And I put it in the software, and just by moving those sliders, it was so smart the way it created the 3D, because the roof is sticking out, so it's simulating real life the way it would be. The hole for the birdhouse, it's in the inside, so it looks
That's
right.
crazy.
The
Yeah.
plane of the house, it's on the same plane, and everything just looks right the way it was done, even though it's just, AI automatic. It
So
looks like somebody
this-
did
so
it.
yeah, so this
It was
thing
flat?
is pretty cool. Yeah, so you start with so I took my logo and made a 3D image out of it. And the like I have the two hands in the center of my logo. That whole thing popped out, and the white lettering around the outside was a little about the same height, and the blue ring around the outside, that was a little higher. It's very cool. A bunch of
Yeah,
AI
you
work
can go
there.
up to 5 millimeters, and it's pretty insane how well it works. Their
yeah,
whole-
I'm blown away. I'm curious.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
so these guys are going to sell a ton of these things, because I don't know if you've looked at UV printers.
I did.
last-
I saw that some company, who was it? Some printer company came out with one just now, like in the last week, and they were charging like $8,000 for it.
Yeah, when I was looking at UV printers, they were to do similar things to this one. They were like $20,000.
I've
And
never heard of
this thing I won't quote
What's
the
the
exact
retail
price
price
yet,
on
but
it?
these things are going to be under, I'd say, $2,500.
It's $22.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
I
So
just looked at their prices.
now if there's an issue with the price leaking, it was all Skylar's fault.
Well, they
So-
announced it, I think.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's look
I I think
they're
they have.
taking deposits right now. It's a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy. That is.
I mean,
I'll give you an affiliate link.
well,
So most of the I don't know about you guys, but most of the things I review, it's like, okay, once the review is done, it's like, where am I going to put this thing now? I got to get rid of it. This thing is going to live in my shop.
Yep.
Same here. The one thing I wish they will give you more information on some things about the machine. Like
what?
My question to them was, how do I ever turn off this machine? Because it does all this cleaning system, right? Like every hour.
Yeah. Apparently it's not good to turn them off.
Well, you can after 3 days of not using it, because after 3 days it does the whole thing while it puts the moisturizer into the.
But unlike most DTF printers, which you can never turn off, and you have to keep, like the Pro Colored, which is what I made this thing with. Every day I walk into my shop, the first thing I do in the morning is push the head clean, in case I don't use it today. Right.
I was watching this lady on YouTube. She had some commercial UV printer, and she was traveling for the weekend somewhere on vacation. She had to have a person come to her house and train her to do a print test, so her heads were not dry.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's insane.
Right, or literally remote access into a computer and do it. It's crazy. Jen said, still looking closely at buying a CO2 galvo to do tumblers. Was looking at doing some business to business. New look at customs. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't buy your galvo yet, Jim? I know you've been looking. When you're ready to do that, I'll give you an affiliate link for that one too, because that one's a good price. And then if I ever meet you at a conference or something, I'll buy you a beer.
Or an affiliate link to that epoxy. People are wanting to buy it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
She'll post it. Kim said, I would like the X-Tool F1 Ultra, with the rotary, much easier for tumblers, and I find to do a better job than any CO2.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I've talked to both of these guys about this. The CO2, the advantage it has is when it hits metal, it basically stops, right? Whereas a fiber laser, you can actually blacken the stainless steel under the paint if you go through the paint. How much did you pay him?
I think he's making fun of me because she's saying hi to everyone and jumping out of each one of our channels and jumping in. V's just showing support to each one of our channels. That's all.
Hi V, by the way. She jumped in my chat and said, sorry, I wrote a quick message. So I actually have a Anchor, the company, contact. And so, and it's not like they haven't, it's like local. He is a sales, or he is a sales and marketing manager with Anchor. So I was like, hey, this is really cool.
What's Anchor?
Yeah, so that's the guys who the parent company. You've seen them. They make a lot of like
Anchor
adapters and stuff.
Yeah, but they are
security cameras.
How do you say Eufy?
Eufy is their product line too.
Eufy is that printer that we just saw is the parent company's Anchor.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so. Yeah. Anyway, talk to the guy, Andy. If you have to get your knees dirty and you need some mouthwash after, go right ahead, man. It's worth it.
Well, when she showed me that, I'm like, all right, I gotta.
Yeah, no, this thing is pretty cool. So I've made stickers. I mean, it literally prints on anything. Although printing on raw cork directly, it's not quite as good. It prints it, but it's not awesome. Here, I'll show you something I did.
I don't know. She set the bar pretty high, Steve. I'm just letting you know.
Oh no, this is not nearly as nice as that for sure. But let me see.
Chris said, "This is what we tell everyone, so paradise does not get overcrowded."
There, let me share this. So I don't do a lot of mugs, but I decided I was going to do this mug.
V is showing everybody the love tonight.
Oh.
Maybe I showed this one already. I don't know.
Oh, hey, Roger. Your friend was here last week and was disappointed that you
Didn't see it.
You weren't here.
Oh, yeah, they had a substation fire here down the roadways. We were out of power for about 6 hours before they got it bypassed and got us onto another grid.
I guess
So-
I didn't think about that. He says everything from China is fast and cheap to Australia. Gets here in 3 to 5 days. Like that's pretty insane when you think about it. You know.
I'm still not going to risk my life being bitten by some spider or
So I
brand
guess
snake or
they
something.
can start like a closet company. It would be an Australian company that ships to the United States.
Yeah, it gets like a laser, like one of these laser cleaners, and clean off the made in China and put made in Australia.
Exactly. there
That's
you
gonna
go.
happen, right? Like you just know people are gonna start kind of forging country of origin things. Anyway, I made this mug.
That's cool.
It was just for fun. I don't know if you've ever seen the Prisoner series. It's from the 60s. It's ancient, but
So James said, should I be joining the chat on YouTube or Facebook? James, we're using StreamYard. So the reason that we read the comments out loud is because obviously if you're in the live, you can see them. But there's, for one, a lot of people who actually just listen. So they don't actually, they're not able to read them. And two, since we're using StreamYard, it's actually grabbing all the comments from every single one of our social media accounts and putting it in one chat bar so we can see them. So for instance, if you were in Andy's Facebook page, Steve's YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, you would only be able to see the comments from where you're actually watching it. So if you say, oh, there's only 51 people watching this, there's not. There's 51 people on where you're at. There could be 2,000 people collectively watching it. So that's how it works. But that's the reason why we share them, so that everyone can see everyone's comments, if that makes sense.
So I see Sky just shared the Amazon affiliate link.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
then-
I don't think I made it public. I don't know how to operate this software.
Yeah, it's in
on
the
the
private
far
chat.
right-hand corner, did you just type it in?
It's in the
Yes,
private
but
chat.
I think I put it under private chat
Oh,
because I'm not
So-
logged into my YouTube.
So V wants to know how you made the little raised house. It's pure magic.
It's just 2 sliders.
Yeah, you take a flat image. It can be anything, and you say, I want to make this either a relief and you can do relief by color or by, what's the other thing? I guess the outlines. And if you pick color, different colors will be different heights, and it's pretty smart, actually.
this is Sky's link to
It's
Amazon.
cool.
So on the far right-hand side, do you see it says comments, banners, media, style, and private chat, Sky?
Let's see
No,
what I
yeah,
said.
Skylar, you sent it to me, actually, I think.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just,
No. So Steve, tell her how it looks, because mine looks different than yours, because I'm the full admin. On the right-hand side,
yeah, there's comments, banner. There's a button bar a vertical button bar on the right-hand side.
yeah.
Yes, under comments, it would not let me do it unless I sign it with my YouTube, which I was not
Oh.
signed up.
Okay. All right.
That's fine.
All right. Well, we shared it.
It came across in private chat, but not under comments.
Yeah.
Right.
And Roger, I got that error message too about your Facebook account today.
About what?
You haven't authenticated StreamYard, your Facebook account, so it wouldn't let you're not live on Facebook right now.
I logged in today.
I got to do that again, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I just bought some, Skylar.
Nice.
Sweet.
I hope you like it. It works really, really well, at least for
Yeah.
me.
So I'm one of those people that I like anytime it like the 10-minute, like the use case for me. Like I don't have to have a project in mind to buy something. It's like I have it on hand and like I'll find a use for it because it's here. You know, I don't know, to where
I did that a lot too. And then 6 months later, I find this thing to my shop. I'm like, what is this?
yeah,
Like, I
that
don't
happens.
know. Like I bought some template from somebody for some project that I watched on a YouTube video. And then it came at this like squiggly wooden piece. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I have no idea what this is for. Why did I buy it?
Yeah, so I always like keeping things on hand like that. It helps
Have you
my
guys heard of
creativity.
unicorn spit?
I have heard of it. I haven't used it.
Unicorn spit is like stains that are like crazy colors, like a neon green, a pink, a pearl, like colors. I always say it's not your grandpa's stain, but you just can't buy it. That doesn't exist. And then they even have some with like glitter inside, things like that. But the way they get you is like they're expensive to buy one. Once you buy three, you might as well buy the set, right? So it's like,
yeah, there is.
So I did that. I wanted to buy 2 different colors, and next thing you know, I had this huge set of them, and they're like, I said, "What are you gonna do with them?" I don't know, but they're badass. I used 2 colors,
but it's not cheap.
No, but it's super thick. So like, I did like 2-3 little drops, with like, So you can water it down, dilute it down.
And the one little tip when you use that poly, I used to buy syringes because you have to measure it 1-to-1 and you only use a little bit. So then I learned that that's too expensive. What you should do is just buy some small teaspoons out of the plastic spoons that you stir your coffee with. And you just measure with a spoon. So it's so much easier and cheaper.
There you go.
Nice.
Steve, they want you to share the UV link.
I will have one posted when I put my video up.
Or put it in the Facebook group.
Hopefully, I've been working on it today, so hopefully soon. I can't actually publish it. I don't know whether you're under the same regulations, Skylar. I think it's the 26th that it goes out.
Put it in the Facebook group.
What's that?
Put it in the Facebook group. The link.
Yeah, when I make one, I haven't made a link for it yet.
Okay,
yeah, I just finished mine last night.
Oh, did you? So it's sitting on the shelf now for a few days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Skylar's not live on her YouTube right now.
No, I don't know how to do it.
No worries. No worries. So, question on that printer. Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my mind around this, and I'm sure other people are too. I know it's magic. Is there like a consumable aspect to this printer?
Ink.
So, like ink cartridges for like any printer?
No, a full set of ink cartridges is like $300.
Okay.
Well, it's like DTF ink, right? It's expensive.
So
CYMK, then there's.
Can you refill them, or do you have to use a cartridge?
You use their cartridges.
Yes, it's not compatible with other inks.
Kind of like what Sawgrass does with their sublimation printers.
Yeah.
They just rape you for it. There's nothing
Yeah,
else compatible.
I have a feeling there will be some aftermarket refill for these things, but CYMK white and gloss.
Okay. And so how? I know you've been testing it. Maybe you don't know, but how long does a cartridge last?
Quite a while. I actually had to swap one of my cartridges today because, well, I've been using this thing for, I don't know, probably 3 weeks or so, pretty hardcore. So I had to change the gloss cartridge today, just at the end of the day. So
okay,
it printed quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously when you print these thick things, if you have 2 ways of doing that. You can put the thickness in color, or you can put the thickness in gloss and then put the color over top of it. So but you're still using a lot of something, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So you'd have to figure out which cheaper, what makes sense to do one way or the other, right?
Yeah. Well, you generally use less gloss because it's really normally only the top coat, right, to make something shiny. But
what if you want it real blinged out?
Well, you can do that. You can do that. It's just, if you want to save ink, if you're doing drafts, you can just do what Skylar did with the flat house, is just put it on there with color without white in the back.
Yeah, it is a difference though. I notice when you do the white in the back, it gets so much more contrast and it looks sharper.
You got to show it again.
Even though the tile is white, it's not as white as the white pigment that they have in the ink.
You got to show that again. The one that's the highest race.
Yeah, so I found a use for all my crappy coins, the ones that I can't use for laser engraving. I put one of these raised things on a coin.
So what would that be? A magnet for like a fridge?
This is a fridge magnet. Yeah.
Fridge magnets. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's it on? What is that? A piece of wood?
It's a ceramic tile.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Skylar, but this was the biggest supply of just bits that you can put, printing on, like this huge box. It was the size of the size of the printer.
I know. I got like 12 phone cases. I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do with all these phone cases? Here's a leather coaster.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it just.
Technology is changing, right?
And this is an image that they had on their software. It's a cat.
Oh, that's cool.
Raised.
You must be
I'm
ready
just
to
blown
change
away
the
by the 3D relief. Like when you said UV printer, I've seen UV printers for a very long time. I just thought I was not in my head ever thinking 3-dimensional at all. So that's crazy to me. That's cool. That's
apparently
cool.
regular, like any other UV printer can do this. But the software has to support it, obviously. But it's just you're just putting a bunch of layers on top of each other, right? And this stuff is hard. Like I tried to, I did one of these race things, and I tried to scrape it off, and it's really hard to get it off. Like it's pretty stuck on there,
it pretty much stuck to everything I tried except my phone case that was silicone.
Yeah, I can see that.
Jim said, looking at a 5-watt with an 8x expander and a 200 millimeter head, $4,000. I might be crazy with the world as it is today.
Well, if you can get it for $4,000 before the tariffs, then do that. But if the tariffs hit you, it's going to be $10,000, right?
Chris said, "Oops, I must be old. I remember Prisoner."
It was a great series.
Yeah. Who remembers MASH? And after that, TV wasn't on anymore. It was just literally TV turned off. Like, we're done for the night, guys. Go to bed.
Dave, have you tried the light box that they send for a sample?
I looked at it today, and I'm looking at it going, yeah, I definitely have to try this.
I gotta show you what I did with it. I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah. Keychains, QR coded business card. Yeah, these are certainly things that car dealerships would want.
Yeah. The whole idea that she just made a refrigerator magnet is like endless possibilities that way, right?
Oh, like I said, this is by far the coolest tool I have in my shop now.
So here is what I did with the light box.
Wow.
This is
sweet.
This is not on.
Hold on
it's not plugged in, but when you light it up, it's really going to light up. Let's see if I can plug it in. I'll plug it into my computer, maybe, or no. So this is printed just on 1/16 clear plexiglass. Let me see if I can plug it in.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that is
First,
really sharp.
Andy's gonna buy it from. I can see Andy's eyes just getting bigger and bigger, going closer.
Steve, you got to show me some projects here. Who's going to get my affiliate sale here?
I'll send you all the projects you want.
That is insane. That's insane. That's crazy.
That's really
You know
cool.
what I could see, like an older house like mine, I have like on the top of the top windows have that like cross in the top windows. It's like six pane or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people put those inside of it, so
Looks like stained glass windows.
Yeah, I could see that. Little CA glue and smack.
Yeah,
that's crazy. No, that's
pretty cool.
To me, that's like being able to do like hardcore manufactured stuff, like some really heavy equipment that would be to make out of your home or garage is like insane.
Yeah. Now it isn't the fastest, but when I did a raised coin first of all, it's color, but it took, I don't know, probably 10, 15 minutes a side compared to 2 hours a side with a fiber laser.
Yeah.
And you get color. So
And for coasters too, I know you don't like coasters, Steve. I don't like them either, but it seems so easy. It's like cheating with this because, you know, I just let it print and I walk away. I don't have to send. I don't have to finish. I don't have to do anything.
We just want to make it clear. Steve doesn't hate them. He loves them. There's a difference.
I like anything that makes money, man.
Yeah. You know that oldie song, there's a thin line between love and hate? That's Steve with the coasters.
Yeah, there's a thin line between genius and insanity, too. I know which side of that line I'm on.
I'm telling you, people are like, all right, man, where is the affiliate link?
So
it was hard to convince people.
Here, I got the link right here.
Post the link.
Yeah. Because I was organically checking this out on my own today. I don't have one, and I just came across. I think I came across like a Facebook ad or something. I'm like, what's?
You gotta be careful now.
I know.
When I was looking at, I heard it from one of you guys, from Steve actually, on your live show. I heard about the UV printer, and I was like, I've never heard of not a UV printer, the UV laser, the Omni. And I've never heard of a UV laser. So I Googled it. And 2 days later, Omni emailed me if I want to review their printer. I was like, what? The laser. And then the same thing, I was watching a YouTube video of this guy that was making, you know, whatever money he was saying. He was printing light switches. I think his video had like 2 million views almost.
Oh, yeah. I seen that.
Yeah. So
UV printing light.
Oh, wasn't that Rich? Didn't Rich do that?
I don't know who did, but I was like, what is this UV printer? So I Googled it, and a week later, I got an email if I want to review one. I'm like, what? This is crazy. They're watching me.
Yeah. The UV, the Omni one is probably my second most favorite toy in my shop right now. But,
it's definitely a really good.
But I'm hoping to acquire a metal fab that will definitely be right up there as far as
X-Tool. Are you listening? We need 5 metal fabs right now.
Well, I'll remind you of the aforementioned dirty knees. Yeah, my knees are pretty dirty right now.
So is X? So this I had this thought. X-Tool's got to be working. Let's just not say X-Tool. There's got to be other companies that are coming out with a machine similar to that Oofy, right?
I would assume. I mean, it's just so functional, right? So, I mean, I think if you had a laser to cut things out, like to cut blanks, and then one of those to print on it, I think you'd have a pretty awesome shop. Like those two tools is almost enough to do anything, right?
That's cool.
I know Adam Stack is coming out with some new cool stuff.
Yeah, they reached out to me a while back and said they were doing some cool things. So I said, man, show me what you're doing. And because, I'm trying to do fewer reviews. Now I did the Algo laser, the little toaster box, just because it's really like truly an entry level laser. Right. So I wanted to, I don't know if you saw that video. I put it out yesterday. I mean, that thing is it's $200 to start.
Skylar, I see a ton of wood behind you. Like, man, you got some money on that shelf. Yeah, I definitely watch your boxes when you buy like those boxes of like random wood. Like you kind of like hit or miss. You don't know kind of what you're really gonna get, but you get some pretty exotic.
I'm running out of space to store my wood though.
Yeah, that's cool. You definitely had some cool exotic woods I've seen. Yeah, that's cool.
I feel like I don't like to work with cheap wood, if you would, just because I feel like if you put the work into doing something and you really work hard to make something awesome, it's going to be the same amount of work if you work with cheap wood or with something exotic. But the price that you can sell that, it's completely different. Because if you say, well, I worked 2 days to make this box, but it's made of pine, nobody's going to pay money for it. But if you say...
Canada has a lot of pine, though. They keep trying to give it to us.
Yeah, we sell that crap to you.
The crooked ones.
No, they're all crooked. It doesn't matter where you are.
I think you keep all the straight ones for yourself.
They're only straight for about 10 minutes after they come off the saw.
Even the cedar fence pickets. So I make a lot of things with cedar fence pickets. I'll buy them, but I don't use them for like 3 months. I put 45-pound weights on them. I just because otherwise, exactly, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they don't pay attention to how they're cutting it, right? So, because I mean, if you saw it right,
they keep it outside at Menards or Home Depot. So when you go buy the cedar fence pickets, as soon as you bring it inside and it starts drying, it starts curling.
Yeah.
I used to, before I had my bandsaw and my jointer, I used to buy my 1/4-inch stock and 8-inch stock and 1/2-inch stock already pre-milled, and I would buy lots of it, and then I'll put it on the shelf, and a week later you can't use any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking for a bandsaw. I've looked at a couple of used ones because they tend to be better, like a General or something. But I don't know.
Just if I get a bandsaw, it has to be a full one. I don't want a table.
Yeah,
No,
I
want
like my Harvey one. The Harvey C14 is really good.
Yeah, I want something that's a floor model, and it has to be on wheels, of course, because everything on my shop is on wheels.
But they're not cheap. They come with a big price,
Yeah, you're
But
looking at a few $1,000.
Compare with other brands, the Harvey one, it is a lot cheaper, and it's made in the U.S.
There you go.
Yeah,
I've never heard of Harvey, to be honest.
I would be shunned by my fellow countrymen. They'd rather have me buy something
do they make
from
such
China.
a thing in Canada?
I don't think we make bandsaws, but
then what are you gonna do?
Here is mine over there.
Well, that's why I don't have a bandsaw.
Oh, look at table saw she had.
I have been been looking at a saw
saw?
stop, and that's one thing from a U.S. manufacturer that I will buy, only because I like my fingers better than I dislike, all the crappy tariff noise.
Well, I will say I'm quite pleased with my saw stops.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with my DeWalt.
I used to have a DeWalt. I just threw it out the other day, and then I bought the $300 scale one.
Okay.
Just to keep it for data stack, because I hate changing the cartridge to put the data stack onto the saw stop, and it's like you forget how good it's a good saw versus when I went back to this little one. It's so loud and like shaky and wobbly. I was like,
yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the saw stop is definitely quiet.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. Expensive.
Anyway, I probably will buckle and buy a saw stop. I'm waiting for my electrician to come and put a 220-volt drop where I want to put the saw. So once that's there, then I'll have to fill that plug. So,
Rick, how is your dust collector going that you just purchased not too long ago?
The buyer, that thing is like a beast. I actually went on Amazon. I bought an attachment. It was like $60. It came with like a 60-foot hose, I think. And the attachments for every brand tools. I only have DeWalt's, but it comes with all of them. So like just sanding, like I do so much sanding, right? And I have the dust collector, and I was wearing a mask. I hate wearing a mask. With that thing, man, just connected directly to my sander. Like, there's no dust. Like,
do you have an air scrubber on the ceiling?
I do. Yeah, I do. But I bought it for the CNC, but I'm using it for my chop saw. I'm using it for my table saw. I'm using it for my hand sander. Like, everything's getting plugged into that thing now. And
the one benefit of a CNC is it doesn't make dust. It makes lots of wood chips, but not dust.
Yeah,
that was the problem I had with my drum sander. Like I didn't realize how much it's all fine dust. Right. So I ended up with 3 big dust collectors because that fine dust was clogging my filters.
Yeah, this thing has this humongous filter, and it has this handle on it that you just turn it. Mm-hmm. And the inside has this rubber flap that kind of like smacks it, kind of cleans it out.
Yeah, mine has that too.
Yeah. I have the Harvey one. I don't know if you can see it there in the corner.
Yeah.
And then there's another one in there. And then the Rockler one. But the ones that have filters, the filters just get clogged. It's a pain to clean them. So I ended up with the one with the bag just for the drum sander alone.
Are you envious, Rick, of all the space in Skylar's shop?
I certainly am, as tight as my shop is.
How big is your shop, Skylar?
It's not that big. It's 1,100 square feet.
It's pretty big, decent size.
Yeah, but I just moved here just a few months ago. I was working underneath the house in the 2-car garage. It's like very small.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I got to deal with this here. I got everything, and everything's on wheels. Because everything is so tight.
My shop is fairly spacious, and I still put things on wheels. So
I have everything on wheels too.
my shop is 25 by 35.
I took a
I have my
quarter of my
tractor
basement.
parked in there too. So
Yeah, I took a quarter of my basement. So
Now mine's
Hey.
24 by 36, but 2/3 of that's taken up in one bay we use to store the forklift and shipping cartons, and then the center bay is all our shipping department where we ship everything out of. So I've only got one bay. So yeah, it's a little tight in there.
Nice. Yeah, I started in the basement. Rick, there's nothing wrong with the basement.
yep. Kevin said I want Skylar's shop.
Yes.
I want it just because it's clean. Mine always has
Oh, it's
dust
not
everywhere,
clean. It's
sawdust all on the floor.
Yeah, there's some in here too.
V said that your shop's just a little smaller than her entire house.
Sorry, V.
I
didn't build my shop. It came with the house when I bought it.
I've been meaning to do a shop tour. I have not done one. It's never clean. It's never organized. There's never a right time.
I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
I did a little one on TikTok, and I said that doesn't
I
really
did one.
matter, like,
I did one a while back, and I'm saying, yeah, there's sawdust all over and everything's disorganized. So that's just a working shop. This isn't like Better Homes and Gardens. You look at some of the things you see on, they'll show the shop and the floor is all waxed and clean and everything's in its place. There's not a speck of dust anywhere. I don't think that people do anything.
yeah, YouTube studio.
So my shop.
Yeah, Andy's shop is spotless. Look at it. You can eat off the floor.
On this side, the other side's the dusty side. But I have a high school. I hire a high schooler to come in and clean my shop.
Jeez.
Nice.
I do.
That's the YouTube money right there.
I pay him $10 an hour. He works 10 hours a week.
You got servants. I see how it is.
Hey.
Is he Mexican? Don't lie.
No.
Don't lie.
No, he's not. If he was a Mexican, I could pay him less, but
Nice.
I'm just joking. I love my Mexican friends. I
I
don't want to offend anybody. I just said that to make Rick laugh.
Oh, speaking of this, I want to bring that up. There's a camaraderie amongst us, okay? So I make fun of Steve. I call him the Silver Fox. Kind of coin him at that. Everyone says
Makes
it.
me feel old. I cry every night after this.
But I don't even know what made me say the OnlyFans thing, but we've ran with it ever since day one. So
you're gonna be shocked someday when you're on OnlyFans and you see me there.
Yeah, oh wait,
so
he actually doesn't have an OnlyFans?
so the point is that we all kind of make fun of each other. Andy hit the nail on the head when he said, when I'm thinking to describe our group, it's like four guys drinking in the bar, kind of shooting the shit, talking shop talk. And I said, you know what? That's kind of, I guess that's really kind of what we're doing, because when we first started the live, we used to say in the beginning of the video, happy hump day, right? And it's because some people do legitimately come to join the live because they have questions. And some people don't have questions at all. They just come because there's not many people you can talk to about this kind of stuff, right? Or the people you do talk to, they're like, all right, shut up. I'm done hearing about your wood, right? Like, or I'm done hearing about your laser. They're just not geeky into it like you are. So to be able to talk amongst people who are geeky the same type of things, it's fun. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because as we poke at each other, make fun of each other, if you join our live, and if you happen to say something in the comments and the comments get shared, again, there's a whole lot of people who listen to our podcasts as an actual podcast, meaning audio only. So we share them and we read them aloud. So don't get butthurt or mean or mad if later on we shared one of your comments and you thought it was misconstrued or said in a different way. It's fair game, anything you say in our live, for us to share it.
Yeah.
So
and I think all of us here, including Skylar, I don't know you that well, but I know that no one's here wishes any ill will on anybody.
Exactly.
I extend that to my channel too. I really, I don't care if somebody sends me an email and just reams me out about something, but when they start dropping like super negative comments in videos, I'll ban them in a blink of an eye. Yeah. And I've had to do it recently, and it's like, I get what you're saying, but this channel is about positivity, right? It's about taking people who want to learn something and giving them an opportunity to absorb something they didn't know before, including me. Like I learn every day, right?
Well, I get a lot of that stuff too, and the ones that irritate me the most are what I call the grammar police. And I will even comment in videos. I'll deliberately say something just way wrong, just to get the grammar police wound up, and then I'll point it out. That's to get you grammar police to reach for your keyboards, because I get that constantly. Like instead of saying millimeters, I may say M&Ms, or I might say all y'all, or something like that, or I might say ain't or tisn't, and I'll get corrected, in comments. So like, people, really.
I used to have a boss from Austin, and she used to say all y'all to me all the time, and I would look around and it's like there's only me here.
Aldrich Custom said anything you say can and will be used against you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my wife's from Alabama, so I know that there's y'all, but if there's a group of people, you have to say all y'all.
All y'all.
That's funny.
See, I've got a mix. So I grew up in Michigan, right? And then but I've lived in Kentucky now for 11 years. And so I've got a mixture. Like when people hear that I'm from Kentucky, they're like, well, you don't talk like someone from Kentucky. I'm like, well, I mean, I grew up in the North. So down here, they call me a Yankee.
Yeah. They're like, you don't spit tobacco and drink bourbon at the same time. You ain't from here.
Yeah.
That's too funny. Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions, please let us know. Let us know. Drop them in the comments below. Appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber to each one of our channels, please do. Please do. And Sky, I don't know if you've ever seen that we have a Facebook group.
Yes, I think I joined it.
Oh, you did? Very cool. Very cool.
I've never commented or anything, but I just watched.
Yeah, you're there. I've seen you.
Yeah.
I saw when you joined. I haven't seen you make too many comments.
Okay.
You should show some of your stuff there.
Yeah, definitely. Chris said, Andy, I got the other day, Americans do not have an accent.
The other day, Americans do not have an accent.
What? It's okay. I get told I have an accent all the time.
Just the O's.
Oot.
Yeah.
say thank you, Steve.
I don't say thank you anyway. I say thanks.
Okay, so say sorry.
I don't say sorry. That's what you're looking for.
I thought he was
I told you, I worked for American companies forever, so I learned the lingo, man.
I thought he was going to get you to try to get that A on the end.
Yeah.
A? Yeah, I don't do that either. That's a central Canada, southern Ontario kind of thing. So
okay. That's not a whole Canadian thing?
Not some people, but it's not really all that popular.
Steve, you and I could be related. We immigrated.
I will not sleep tonight.
I know, right? So I did some ancestry stuff a couple years ago, and I learned that
Did I pop up? Because
no, you didn't. Maybe I don't know.
I could be anywhere, right?
So my grandfather. So my great grandfather didn't know him, but he immigrated from Canada to Michigan.
Oh, he'd be sorry today.
Yeah. So then I went back even further, and I found out that I'm basically French Canadian.
Wow,
that's cool.
We're practically neighbors.
I know, right?
I've lived on both sides of French Canada.
Yeah.
James said 2-car garage, a 4x8 CNC, a 1956 Ford Thunderbird, a Harley Davidson, a street bike, tight spaces, haha.
Yeah,
making it work.
You're gonna spend a lot of time dusting that Thunderbird. Yeah, you got a workshop.
Probably under a car cover.
Yeah, hopefully it's covered.
Yeah. Yeah, tire under a car cover.
That's great.
They already said sorry.
Sorry.
Zentenro's here.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's really cool. So I do a live show, right? We're experimenting with the CNC side hustle show on every other Thursday right now. But anyways, it's really cool to see some people that come on Wednesday night show up. I see their names on those Thursday night shows, and it's just cool that they come out and support. Like I met them here, but they go there as well, so it's really cool. Zentendro is one of them that I recognize.
Cool.
Yeah. Very cool.
Small world.
Yeah, I was just saying, I saw on Facebook Marketplace, we were talking before we went live, one Infinity for sale. And I sent him a message and I said, you don't mind me asking, like, why are you selling it? Because it's like to the nines, had everything, the changer tools, everything. And he said, well, I have two and I'm unhappy with the slop. And so I said, well, I just watched this video, the alt mill versus the Infinity one. And we had this discussion last week. And he's like, oh, yeah, I saw that video too. So I don't know if he joined the live, but he said he'd probably jump in. It turns out he lives down the street from me. So crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's slop in anything, there's got to be loose screw somewhere, loose bolt of some sort.
And he said he had the stiffy too, so I was like, "Oh man." Chris said, "I want YouTube schedule so the channels I watch don't conflict."
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like DVRing it, right? You just wouldn't get to watch it live. But
yeah, Clayton's here.
Clayton, aloha from Hawaii.
I was just wondering. I was just about to say, like we should really send some emergency vehicle to Hawaii to rescue Clayton because he didn't show up.
Yeah, we should all go to Hawaii and see if Clayton's okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I think a Hawaii outing would be pretty cool.
We could do. We could just sleep on Clayton's couch.
We just have to get United Airlines to sponsor us. Hey, there you go. So we can fly for free.
Like if I go to the U.S. now, they're going to take my phone. They're going to see all the bad shit I say, and then they're going to put me in jail. It's just not cool.
End up in El Salvador or something?
Maybe. Well, at least
I'm Canadian. No, you're not.
At least it would be warm. But
that's a fake ID. What is this? This looks weird.
Hey, Steve, you're smart enough. Nothing would happen to you. Like meaning. Not that you are smart enough to you're intelligent, so we're not going to send you anywhere. We're going to keep you here.
Yeah, I don't know. You should see some of the messages on my phone. I think
you didn't hear about the IQ test.
Yeah, I've done many IQ tests.
I'm joking.
See, the advantage of being on the non-visible part of the autism scale is it made me not, for reasons I don't understand, reasonably cohesive. So I never really had trouble with school or anything. It was just easy for me.
Yeah, it's your superpower,
man. I can't tie my shoes, but I can.
That's
I can
not
do
important.
just about anything else.
There's Velcro.
I don't think I recognize this name. Are you new to the live?
Blunderbuss. That's new.
I had slop after about 40 hours of running my 150. The bolts on the spindle carrier had come loose. Problem solved, 100%.
Yeah, there you go.
Tighten your bolts.
Well, that's. I mean, the way the Onefinity, especially the Z-axis, is designed, there's just no room for slop there unless there's something loose.
Yeah, I mean the Shapeoko, I've had the same problem with Shapeoko. Right,
but I think anything that has high RPMs, right? You should definitely be checking.
Well, you got to keep in mind what the tool is, right? It's basically a thing that's designed to vibrate.
There's a lot of There's a lot of force at play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even on, if you go back to the small, like the Genmitsu 3018s, stuff comes loose.
Yeah,
it just does, and you're gonna have to
3018s especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get. I had an email today. Somebody was trying to get me to test their 3018. It's like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
I still haven't bought the software yet. I got to bite the bullet. How much is it? $600? $650?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want
Pro.
V-Carve Pro because
Yeah.
you got 48 by 48.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So if it ever shows up from Canada, I should start messing with the little 2-tree, so I can start learning the software.
We just keep dangling that thing on a string in front of you, right?
I know.
So I did see in the Onefinity official Facebook group that I saw today someone was excited that their spindle shipped. Have you got your Redline spindle yet?
I did not order their spindle because they don't offer a water cooled spindle.
Gotcha.
That's why I got the PWN CNC.
PWN, yeah.
You got a 220 volt too, right?
I got a 1.5 to 110.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got a 2.2 kilowatt, but it's on a 110 circuit, but it's 20 amp.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I didn't want to deal with the 220, so I stayed 110. Yeah, I technically have an open 220 because I had an electric dryer. Now I have a gas, so I could use it. But I was always just kind of keeping it as I need it, not I want it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. What was it? Chris comment. Chris said, "Schedule maintenance, or it'll schedule it for you."
Yes. That was so.
That's true.
As a quote unquote leader in my business, I used to run a leadership program, and that was the single most important piece of guidance I would give people I mentored. Own your calendar, because if you don't, someone else will.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with this.
Kevin said, "Get the software now and get familiar with it." I got my spindle last week. Yeah, I need to just get it. Just download it already.
Yeah, you can download the free one anyway and play with it.
Yeah, don't buy it just yet. You can download the free one and play with. They've got a great introduction.
I know, but I thought I couldn't output.
You don't have a CNC to output.
I do have a CNC. I have the 2 trees.
Oh, well, yeah, you could do that.
Then what are you waiting for?
That's what I just said.
You'll have to find a post processor that works with the 2 trees. I think the generic G code one will work.
Yeah,
but you won't be able to control things like spindle speed or any of that kind of stuff. But you probably can't on a 2 trees anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with that. Get that software.
I don't think it was cheaper than the Redline at all.
Yeah, I didn't find those cheaper than anything really. They're pretty expensive.
And it wasn't. And I wasn't like geared brand loyal. I would just wanted a water cooled because I figured that if I'm going to do some bigger pieces, I just thought it'd be better. That's all. So it wasn't that I thought one was better than the other. I just wanted water cooled.
Yeah, mine's water cooled. It's good if you're doing long projects, right? Like I run some projects that run for hours, and
ATS Woodcraft said, cool. Skylar, looking at your website now, your offerings are beautiful, certainly fine craftsmanship.
Well, thank you very much. I try my best.
Craftspersonship.
Yeah.
Especially in this case.
So if the bearded Viking was here, I'd be able to give him the hard time, but it's not in our lives now. But I did rub in his face a few times. I don't know, man. She's giving you a run for your money. Chris said with PWN CNC, I'm dyslexic, so I'm like, trying to read that. It's the quality you're paying for. We'll find out. They've emailed me like 5 times. Will you please do a review for us? I said, I've never
heard good things about them.
Don't have a CNC. Like, I know you sent it to me, but I can't say how it works, so we'll see.
I don't know. I bought my liquid cooled one off Amazon. It's the Huang Yang one. It's got
the Wang what?
Huang Yang or whatever. I think is the name.
I said Wang.
One. I think it's got probably 100 hours on it or more, and it's running flawless.
I saw somebody said they bought the Onefinity. They didn't get their spindle yet, so they went to Harbor Freight and bought a router. They burnt it out in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I saw that. Where was that at?
Was that on our Facebook group? I don't remember why I saw that. It said 2 hours they burnt it out.
Yeah, we don't have Harbor Freight here, but my impression is it's kind of the discount place, right?
So it's interesting.
It's not Wong, it's Juan.
I know.
It starts with an
We're
H.
just joking. We're just joking.
Everybody's picking on me. I'm upset.
Steve, I'm not picking on you.
We're gonna lose all our
I had a
Chinese
nice voice, though.
sponsors.
Oh, geez.
You guys are racist.
They're
What were
probably
you gonna
laughing
say, Andy?
too.
Before we start laughing, sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say.
No, I didn't buy the wrong one anyway. It works great.
Oh, I was just going to say about Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's interesting, right? Like they have some quality stuff.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
all junk.
No.
Some of it is, but some of it's good.
Put it
Yeah,
this
my
way.
understanding was they had a couple of tiers of
Yeah.
quality, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like in hand tools, if you get into the what they call the icon level, that's getting right up there, along with Mac and Matco and Snap-on. I mean, you're getting high quality there.
Put it this way. Their hand tools are so much like Snap-on as Snap-on sued them.
Yeah.
And this Snap-on rep, like one of the biggest Snap-on reps in the Chicagoland area or whatever, he's pretty big on YouTube. And they did a head-to-head socket test, like under like this pressure machine that's able to like basically see what gears would break. And a Snap-on broke.
Whoops.
Yeah, like, whoops. But that was pretty crazy. But yeah, they got sued for their car jack stands because they said that they're like some super expensive, like NASCAR type speed race, low boys, that go under a car. Their hand tools. So yeah, exactly. Like I bought a jackhammer when I had to put a commercial door in to get equipment in my basement. Now, mind you, it's not a Hilti, right? Something that you would use for 12 hours a day, but I'm gonna use it one time, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm not ever gonna probably use a tool ever again in my life.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
not
bought
a
it for
contractor
$200.
using it every day or a
Right.
mechanic using it every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Big deal. But then I do see they do have some tools though, like that the dust collector. That thing's a beast. Like
So I have a hand-me-down. I've got a couple dust collectors, but the one I started with was a hand-me-down I got from someone else that used it for 5 years, and I've had it for 5 years. The thing is, Harbor Freight dust collector is over 10 years old. Like, and it just, no pun intended, keeps sucking.
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just keeps going. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I said there's Roger said there's different tiers, 100%. And at the same point, if you're buying something for $200, that tool normally is $2,700. Come on, what you're getting for $200. That's kind of like,
Yeah.
So
I
I
bought
have
one of their
nothing bad to say about them.
one of their entry level like polishers. I was working on a boat. I needed to get the oxidation off of it, and I don't know. The thing was like $20. It was super cheap. And within about 3 hours, all the screws had flew out of it, and so I'm constantly chasing screws around and ended up putting Loctite on them. It still works. Just had to do some work on it to keep all the hardware in it.
I used to own a detail shop for a good amount of years, and we'd use Milwaukee's. And a new person would start, and they're like, "Hey, so do I get to use that?" I'm like, "No, you get the Harbor Freight special." They're like, "What do you mean?" You're gonna get the cord caught around a antenna. It's gonna smack you in the face about 100 times, and then you're gonna rip the cord off. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. It'll happen. You're new. You see them crying in the corner, 100 welts on their face. Now you know why you got the Harbor Freight. Once you catch that, because you're trying to go close to it, as soon as you catch that, whack, 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 and it rips the cord off. But yeah.
Skylar, I'm
from
also
what I can see from Harbor Freight, it's a brand as what do you say?
Bunnings?
It is branded from Bunnings here in Australia. Oh, it's branded as Bunnings here in Australia. Yeah, I don't know.
Skylar, I was checking out your boxes on your website too, just what you're having to offer. Those are really cool. You say you're about selling one a day?
Well, not necessarily just boxes, like, something on the website that sells every day.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I had a
How are
company-
you generating that traffic to your website?
I think I was pretty lucky, right? Because I started this YouTube channel, Sawdust and Splinters. It will be 2 years in June. So when I started my store, I already had an audience from my YouTube, and my subscribers were super supportive. When I started the website, I announced it, and I got tons of orders just in the first week. So then a lot of them came back, some never came back, but then new people came in, and it's just been, I think a lot of it is my, audience.
YouTube channel, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Etsy is just whoever. Like I don't know who buys it on Etsy.
Yeah.
But I get constant emails every day. People that order from my website, they will email, and they are usually people that follow me.
That's cool. Yeah, there's this. It reminds me of this. There's this book. I forgot the name of it.
50 boxes.
Anyway, what's that?
Something with 50 boxes.
No. This is a different. This is a business book. That talks about building your products in public, and it's a concept I think mainly in the tech space, like software startups, and but what you're explaining reminded me of that concept. Like your YouTube channel, you're building in public, right? And so people can see what you're doing, and then they're like, "Oh, that's really cool. I can go get one."
That's why I had to pivot a little bit too, and I started making finishes, because obviously all the people that follow me, they're woodworkers. So then started to make finishes. They came over to the website to buy finishes because they would use it. Like if you're a woodworker, you're not going to go buy a cutting board. You'll buy it maybe once to support me, but then you're not going to come and buy another one.
Exactly.
Versus if you're coming to buy finishes and other stuff and templates and so on.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's always the challenge, right? And I've had that challenge with my YouTube channel. Like, no one is going to buy the products that I make. Not no one, but very few people are going to buy the physical products that I make. The audience I have on YouTube, right? They're people doing the same thing as I'm doing.
Right.
And so yeah, aligning your product to your audience is so important.
So I had a question. Has any of you guys with a CNC have ever thought about cutting out jigs, that thick, I don't know if it's plexiglass or what it's made out of, but so that people with a router can do it?
Yeah, I do those all the time.
Yeah, I do it on the laser with the X-Tool P2S.
Yeah, I've seen that's becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah, there's a big, there's one guy, I see his Facebook ads all the time, basically making acrylic templates. And I think laser is probably the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as you don't want thicker stuff, right? Like if you're doing 3 millimeter, like 1/8 inch acrylic, or
I use the 1/4 inch cast.
Yeah, if you're using like a P2S, you can do 1/4, but you're limited to size, right? So with a CNC, you can build a gigantic jig. So I've done them both ways.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it would chip easier with a CNC versus a laser.
So the other thing is you're going to get a cleaner finish with a laser as well, a cleaner edge finish.
Yes.
But you can. Has anybody ever done like a flame finish on the edge where you like?
Oh, like frost it?
Yeah. So like I've seen these people like cut with a CNC, and then they take like a torch, just like a hand torch, and like dust the edges basically.
Yeah, just
and it cleans them right up
to smooth it out, right?
Yeah, it's a polished edge.
Yeah.
I've never done it, but I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, to run a router around it, it's not really necessary, but you're running a bearing on top of it, right? So it's not gonna.
But then the bigger your product is, too, the more it will cost to ship.
Yeah,
right.
You have to think of that. When I was making my, the wavy pattern for router and stuff, I started making it at 20 inches, and to ship it in a 20-inch box was a lot cheaper than when I started making it at 23 inches. And then now it's $6 extra because I'm going over the 20-inch shipping.
Yeah.
So Roger preaches that all the time.
Yeah.
Be careful on
dimensional weight.
A 3/4 inch difference in a product can cost you $6-9.
Yeah, it's all in dimensional weight, and there's a big difference in now between the post office and UPS, where your dimensional weight let's say it is 2 pounds and your box is 36 inches long. You can actually ship it cheaper UPS down than you can with post office.
Yeah, I cannot ship UPS because my business has a PO box address.
So I made these illusion laser engravings, and I took Roger's advice. The first thing I said is, hold on a second, what's it going to cost to ship this? And so I went between, before I lie, I was looking at a 6x9 envelope, but 7.5 by 10.5, 7.5 by 10.5 was the biggest envelope I could go to make it cheap to ship. So guess what? The cross fits inside that envelope.
Yep. No, it's a great point. A lot of people don't account for that, right? If you're going to sell online, you got to think, okay, what's it going to cost to ship this? And even if the customer is paying for it, which they should, whether it's built into your price or you're charging shipping, either way, like they're not going to want to pay $15 to ship that cross.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the other thing I was thinking, well, how am I going to protect this? Because it's only 1/4 inch. I took the same exact outline, cut it out in cardboard, and I taped it into cardboard and slid it into the envelope. So it's actually sit inside the cardboard, this exact outline.
Nice.
Yeah, the nice thing about lasers is the packaging is easy to make because you already have the outline of the thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I do that. I do that all the time. I'll cut the thing out and then I will cut out a piece of foam that it fits into perfectly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, here's another thing to keep in mind. Here, this little bubble envelope right here, we ship a lot of stuff in these. Used to be that, I'm just going to grab something at random here. Let's say I want to send a set of these. It weighs 5 ounces. It's first class, no problem. First class parcel, not anymore. Now you have to send what they call ground advantage. If it's more than 3/4 of an inch thick, you cannot send it first class. So the price of your shipping just doubled.
Yeah.
I pretty much ship most of my stuff priority mail with USPS.
That's what we do too.
I charge for
little
it,
things.
and it costs what it costs, and I get all the boxes for free from USPS, and I try to make my cutting boards and whatever to fit in those boxes. I have a few items that won't fit, and I buy boxes and I'll charge for that. And
yeah, you got to think about that too. Is like the box itself, it has a cost,
Yep, and then the paper, whatever you put inside, buffing material and all that stuff, and
right,
tape, printer.
Plus it ships faster.
Yep.
So, yeah, I shipped these to California, 2 of these to California today, and regular first class was like $7, and I think it was $7 for priority mail and $5 for regular. So I just ate the $2 extra so they got it before Easter. So I thought it's a cross, maybe they didn't pay for it, but $2, so I just did it. Chris said using an O fluid upcut, I can get edges clean, so I don't need the flame edges. There you go.
Yeah, that's good to know. Like I don't have any experience here, so thanks for sharing that, Chris. And I think I would. Is it you get clean enough edges, or like Rod or like Steve was saying, you're running a bearing around it. Doesn't need to be like a glass edge, right?
Yeah, it's not going to be glass coming off the laser either. Right?
Yeah,
especially with a CO2 laser.
Yeah.
Chris said, I want to see a mountain scene on that 3D look. Check it out. I want to make this cross on the CNC that it's I don't know if you guys seen the artwork. From heaven reaching down, it's Jesus grabbing someone's hand and he's pulling them out of hell. You guys seen that?
Seems a little dramatic.
Pretty insane. Yeah, no, it is 100%. It definitely is like whoa, but it's like he's like in the clouds and it's inside the cross. His arms reaching down.
I don't think I have seen that.
And he's pulling them out.
I don't think you showed us that one.
Yeah, I want to make that in the.
But if you send that piece of art that you have there, I'll do one of these 3D things for you to show you.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I won't sell it. It's not my thing, but.
Cool.
I'll print a small one.
My family's Italian and Mexican, right? So everyone's Catholic and Christian, whatever. So
I don't see the Italian.
Well, yeah,
Hey, your wife's Canadian, right?
yeah, she's French. Yeah.
All I see when I look at you, honestly, is I see Pitbull.
No, the Italian side of my family is through marriage,
Not a
blood.
Pitbull. Pitbull.
No, the Pitbull. We need to clip that, like make that a short.
He'll grab it. Watch, he'll grab it.
Yeah, it'll be out tomorrow.
Chris said, no, it's on the CNC and clean rough edge. I'm sorry, clean enough edges that the jig positions perfectly.
That's cool.
There you go.
One thing I'd like to get into more, I know I'm a woodworker at heart, but I would like to experiment with the CNC on more materials. It's on my list.
Right. The only reason I brought up those templates is because that it's allowing people to do things with a router that they would really need a CNC to do.
Yeah.
So, and kind of like step up their game and maybe be able to make an investment on some of these templates that are cheap enough. If they ruin them, who cares? They'll buy another one. But the return on their investment from buying this cheap template, what they can make from it or make with it, is worth the investment, and then maybe later on they made enough to buy that CNC or buy that laser to make their own. I think it's definitely a good stepping stone.
What kind of materials do you want to work with, Andy?
So I actually had a project fall through last week that one of the I think I brought it up last week. The Cora foam.
Yeah.
Which is like an
HPDE, HDPE, whatever.
No, HDU.
Oh, HDU. Okay.
Yeah. So if you look up Cora foam, it's a really, really cool. Obviously, it's a foam, but it's machinable. And I was almost commissioned. It fell through to make this 8-foot K.
Yeah, you mentioned you were going to make a big letter K.
Yeah. They had a budget set. They said, "Can you do it?" And I said, "Yes." And then they're like, "Oh, just kidding."
We've all been there.
And it was like an $18,000 project.
It's a big K.
Well, it was 8 foot by 8 foot, and it was the design was what I was machining was like musical instruments. So it was a K constructed out of musical instruments. And it was for an award show where a music award show they would take pictures in front of. So
that's cool.
Skylar,
do you want to take this question?
Sure. Well, it all depends. You don't need much depth to fill it with epoxy. It could only be 1/16. It depends on how much room you want to have for sanding. So really any depth will work. I usually do between 1/16 and 1/8.
I typically go an 8 when I'm doing epoxy fill.
Just to give you a little room.
Or more. It could be more.
Well, it depends on how, like, if you're just doing like a fine line, like lettering or something, then you don't need much depth. If you're doing something bigger, then I'll go more.
You ticked with Crest said, Rick, I made the 3D cross of Jesus in the well. That's what it is. I mount them in the back and black picture frames with black velvet as the background. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw that image. I was like, man.
It's a great image. I saw it too. And I think putting it in a frame, it's a good idea. Anything you put in a frame, it just going to increase the value by a lot.
Yeah, let's check it out.
That's a good point.
So Chris said on the CNC, I aimly do wood, acrylic, and amly. What is this?
Aluminum, maybe?
Aluminum?
Yeah, I've got aluminum on my CNC.
Or aluminium?
Yeah, just to find out how difficult I can make it to clean chips up.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a mess, huh?
Yeah,
well, you have to go slow. Like the feed is pretty slow with aluminum or brass, but you can do it. I mean,
but you did that right with a coin, right?
Oh, I did it. I did it to make all the cable or all the belt adjusters on my laser. They're all CNC'd.
Yeah,
I made a branding iron. I did brass
recently.
Branding iron one time.
Nice.
That's the only time I've done brass.
Just recently.
I just said you can make large jigs with huge or snaps together like a puzzle for easier shipping. That's a good idea.
I was thinking that.
Yeah. I've done that. I've also gone the other extreme where you can't ship it in a cardboard box. You have to make a crate.
Said
You're not making that box for $1.
ATX Woodcraft said I also did the Lord's Prayer, cut a 1/4-inch basswood. I spray them gold and mount them in the black frames. People love them. That's cool.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm doing I do a lot of those planter boxes that go on people's graves. And they're kind of site-specific made because every cemetery has different rules. Like they're going to be so wide, so tall, so I make sure that they're within the thing. And then I make sure they're about 3/4 inch smaller than they have to be, just in case somebody had a bad day. They don't say, throw it away. But what I started doing is doing an inlay of a slate coaster, but I'm doing kind of a 3D relief engraving of someone's face. So I'll be putting out some videos on that. I think that's pretty cool. And to be honest, like a good majority of people who are buying these, they don't even have headstones on their graves. So they're kind of putting in a little extra money in these type of decorations because it's, giving honor for their family members. And I really enjoy doing it.
Cool.
David said, is it safe to cut? Is it safer to cut thin? What is this? Mean line?
Melamine. I
don't know.
I don't really know for sure, but I would be a little worried about what the melamine is made out of, whether it's going to generate a chlorine gas or not.
What is melamine?
I don't think it will.
Plastic?
It's a plastic.
Yeah, well, just make sure it's externally vented, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Poison your neighbors rather than yourself.
Yeah.
Nope, no chlorine in melamine.
Oh, that's
Google
good.
it.
Carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you should be able to cut it. It'll
Chris,
probably
a deep-
stink. It'll probably stink like you wouldn't believe, but
Yeah,
it's
just like
vented.
leather, like that the leather with the has the multicolors behind it. Those
doesn't
are
matter
so
what
cool.
color the leather is, it stinks.
Yeah, exactly.
leather-
that was
leather-
the point. I said it's so
leather-
cool to do it so fast, but man, it smells horrible.
I've done a lot of leather, and it smells like you're burning a body.
Yeah.
Say like burning a raw cow in your house.
Yeah, it's gross.
I don't even like the smell from the whatever it is, acrylic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no
Yeah.
good.
Acrylic's not too bad. Well, I vent outside anyway, but
I do too, but still.
Aldrich said CNC on PVC is fun, messy but fun. Great for epoxy inlays too.
That's
Yeah.
interesting with the epoxy inlay part. Never heard of that.
I saw in Mexico, I've never saw
tried
this
it.
before. I saw them using 4 and 6 inch water main PVC, and they put it on a CNC and they engraved like something out of the front and they put a light at the bottom. So they were making like this night light because maybe the bottom 2 inches were not actually engraved. So that little candle was sitting in there, and then it was like projecting out the image that was cut out on the CNC.
must be small pipe, like
4 to 6 inches. Why? Yeah.
wow. Well, that's pretty big.
Something else with PVC, when you're machining that or even sawing it for all that matter, you'll find out exactly what static electricity and PVC shavings do. They will stick to you everywhere.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, all the little pieces off the saw. Yeah.
Joseph, can you discuss a product or two that you feel would prove to sell?
We could
I
discuss
would
this
say
for
on
2 hours.
what?
Yeah,
I
that
would
could
say
be a
on what? Are you
whole
talking laser, CNC, 3D printer? What do you mean?
that could be a
handful.
whole live stream in itself right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could take 2 hours on that.
I was gonna do. I probably will do it actually. Given $100 worth of material, what can you make that makes the most money?
I like that.
I
So I might do that.
love cedar fence pickets, man. You can make anything out of them. Get them so cheap. It's
And they
crazy.
smell nice when
Oh.
you cut them too.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
That's right.
You just have to watch that they don't catch fire.
We made our whole entire hot tub enclosure out of cedar fence pickets.
Nice. Chris said I'd tell people local orders can be any size. Requested shipping can be different. Yeah, that's totally right. I have a buddy of mine. He always trying to every time I post something, he always wants to order it, and I feel bad because he lives in Wisconsin. And I just kind of brush him off, to be honest, because I'd feel bad like charging them $100 shipping. You know what I mean? Because it's like a big giant item. Like, but yeah, definitely have to keep that in mind. Tim Sand says leather done with the Omni one smells like a leather shop. Totally different than using a diode or CO2.
Yeah, if you want to cut or engrave leather, rather a UV laser is the way to go.
It doesn't burn it either.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, it's an ablation process, so there's no burning, so it doesn't smell like dead cow or anything like that.
You don't smell nothing?
No. Well, you smell. It smells like a new baseball glove or something, right? It's.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's definitely different. There you go, Andy. He said, I did a video on epoxy inlay on PVC.
Cool.
Check it out.
Doesn't it? Because PVC expands and contracts pretty radically with temperature.
Yes, it
I would
does.
think the epoxy would eventually pop out.
Yeah, static is the arch enemy of PVC. You bet it is. I've done a lot of work with cutting and milling PVC, and I'll come in looking like the abominable snowman.
Yeah.
It just sticks to you everywhere, and you can't hardly get it off.
Oh, a good material, Andy, to work with on a CNC is Delrin.
Oh,
it's a kind of plastic, but it's hard.
I've heard of Delrin, never used it.
Was it that guy who joined our live and told us about it? Who's making all those?
Yeah, maybe, but I've used it before.
Yeah.
Nice.
We used to turn it on like metal lathes and stuff too to make specific parts for things.
Oh, that's cool.
It turns like it when it's done. It's like it's kind of polished. Like you don't really have to do anything to it.
Well, guys, looks like we're at times 8:31. Today went really, really fast. Skylar, thank you for joining our live. You so meshed well with the team. I'd definitely love to have you back sometime.
Keep in touch.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure out how to get you live next time on your live so you can be live.
Yes, I meant to come in a little bit early to chat with you about that, but I was too late.
No worries. We'll do it again. So thank you everyone for joining the live. Appreciate your time. Make sure you join us on next week's live. You guys have anything you want to say on closeout?
I'm glad people are excited about the UV printer.
Yeah, that's exciting, man.
I love the price of the thing. I think it's priced exactly where it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say it again. If I did not see it from someone that I know, I almost wouldn't have believed it. That is like,
like I said, send me your design and I'll print something out for you.
Sounds good.
I'll have it for next week.
Okay.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All right, good night.
See you all next week.
Thanks all. Thanks, Connor.
Bye.
Cool. See ya.